I'm going to give some pumpkins a coastal themed makeover. Okay, first up I've got this pumpkin, and in here I've got some hot water. I'm going to use some cheap blue nail varnish that I'm going to drip over the top. It has to be hot water because otherwise it will just all sink to the bottom. Some of it does anyway. And I'm putting in another lighter blue as well. And what I'm going to do is make this pumpkin look as though it's just been splashed by the sea. So using a skewer, moving it around a bit, and then taking the pumpkin, I'm going to dip it into the water. And it picks up all the nail varnish. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll go back and do it the other way round. So this next pumpkin, this lends itself to me to look like a sea urchin. So I'm going to take the stalk out like that. I've given it one coat of white paint, and now I'm going to paint it in blue and green. I've got some acrylic paint here. Okay, and I'll let that dry, and then I'll go neaten it up with blue paint. Okay, I've neatened this up now, and now taking a white Posca pen, I'm going to make some little marks on it. And so on until it will look something like that. Here's one I did earlier, and here's a tiny one I did too. I think they look really effective as little sea urchins. You could do them any colour you like. And for my final pumpkin, I'm going to use this napkin. I think it's so pretty. It's from online from Nimi's Napkins, and it's got beautiful little seahorses on it. So as usual, you have to separate the 3 plies because I only want the top layer. So I'm going to isolate this little section here. So using a soft paintbrush and some clear water, I'm going to go around this weed and seaweed here, and then that will very gently pull away from the rest of the napkin and give me a nice soft edge. And now using some glue or gel or whatever you have around, I'm going to paint it on here and then apply the napkin okay. And then taking the little seahorse, I'm going to add that in as well, but I just want to overlap it a bit. Okay, I just added in the weed. I only have 2 little seahorses on here because I'm going to add on the top of this some of this. This is from the net bag that some avocados came in, and I thought it looked like fishing net. So I'm just going to hook it over the stalk that I've painted brown, and I'm just going to let it hang there like that. Here are my coastal themed pumpkins. That's the one I did with nail varnish. I turned it upside down and did the top. There's a couple of sea urchins and my seahorse one. I love this display. I hope you do.
We have all seen these dollar store pumpkins, inexpensive, made of polystyrene. You can get them from all sorts of different places. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pull out the top of my pumpkin. I want to put that to one side and also take off the sticker. You can see it's just from the dollar store. So what I'm going to be doing is taking this pumpkin, and I'm going to be using a variety of things to make it look beautiful. So I've got a couple of different versions. We've got this one, which is stick-on tattoos, and then we're going to be using some decoupage. But the first thing we want to do is we want to get rid of this orange colour. Orange is not a good look in my house, unfortunately. It doesn't really go with my decor. So depending on the pumpkins you get, you might want to use a product to make the paint stick. So this is a product called Slick Stick from Dixie Belle, and that's really good if you've got something really, really shiny. Now, the paint I'm going to be using is actually Dixie Belle paint, which sticks to pretty much everything, and I don't need to use Slick Stick on this. However, during my research for you, I did discover that this orange paint has a tendency to kind of, shall we say, bleed through. So I'm going to use some of this product. This is called Boss, and this blocks odours, stains, and stops bleed through. And it's really, really good at stopping that bleed through. Now, the only way to find out if your pumpkins are going to bleed through is to actually start painting them. So I'm going to just put some of this Boss on here first of all. I haven't sanded this or anything else. But if it's going to bleed through, then the only way to find out is by adding the paint to it. So I know that these particular pumpkins do bleed through, which is why I'm going to add the Boss. This has got a nice dry coat of Boss on it, and I've actually applied one coat of paint on top as well. I'm just using this Dixie Belle Fluff. It's mineral chalk paint or chalk mineral paint. Goes on really nicely. I've just put one coat on here. I just want to show you, I did try to pull the stalk out of this pumpkin, but guess what? It decided to take some of the skin with it. But I am going to tell you that doesn't matter. It won't matter one little iota once we've completed our project. So you can see how easily this paint goes on. It's really, really nice coverage, and it gives us a nice, even, smooth finish for the next step, which is when this pumpkin really starts to come to life. Now, everybody knows that decoupage is absolutely one of the most fun things to do when it comes to any kind of decor. I love it, and it's far easier than you think, especially when you have gorgeous napkins available to you like these gorgeous, gorgeous colours. And I thought it'd be really fun to try this on this pumpkin. And whilst I do love these two, and I promise I will make some of those as well, I think I'm going to go with this one. It's a very classic kind of look. So the first thing we have to do is we have to separate out the plies. So it's a 3-ply napkin. We just want the top layer, the layer that has the printing on it. There we go. Pull that apart there. And now we have a gorgeous napkin. Now, I could, if I wanted to, literally just put this on here as is like that, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just go on the edge, and I'm going to take off these sharp edges, the lines that are on here. I don't really want those to sharp. I want this to be very soft, almost looking like porcelain, these pumpkins. Now, they are called chinoiserie. I believe that's how you say it. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I read it, so that's how I'm going to pronounce it. And I'm just taking the edges off. And one of the really nice things about tearing the paper, rather than actually using scissors to cut it, is that it gives a really soft edge when you apply the glue. There we go, pull that end off there. And then let's clear this space so you can see what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to make smaller pieces out of this that really don't require any kind of matching up, because it will all look good when we put it onto the pumpkin. I'm going to dip my brush into the glue pot, and I'm just going to apply some glue fairly, not particularly sparsely. There's a good amount on there, and I'm going to take my first piece of napkin. I'm just going to drop it on top, and then I'm going to use my glue brush, adding a little bit more glue on top, to just gently push it down. I'm going to push it into the actual curve of the pumpkin. It's very straightforward, very simple. And as you can see, straight away, it starts to give almost that finish of china or porcelain. I'm going to do the same thing. And again, as I said, I'm not matching it up because it's going to just kind of pass over. I was going to say overload, but pass over the napkins. They're just going to cross over, and it's going to give a really good natural finish. Doesn't matter if I get a few wrinkles, those will come out as we actually continue with this. Let me do the final bit on the bottom here, just to show you how we match those up. There we go. I'm going to drop it on there, and you can see straight away it really doesn't make any difference that I didn't match the pattern, that I didn't try and get it absolutely spot on. It just works. And whatever pattern you choose, just try to get something that, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit random, because trying to get this as a perfect match on here would be difficult. So I'm going to continue doing this, finish off these pumpkins, and then I'll show you what we're going to do with our pumpkin stalk. Next thing we need to do is take our stalk and make this a little bit special. Rather than a bit of brown looking plastic, what am I going to do? I'm going to take some gold paint. And this is just a gold acrylic that I've got here. I'm going to squeeze a little bit out onto there, but I've also got a couple of other options. You've got the metallics from Martha Stewart, and you could do silver or gold. Black might look kind of cool, or even a blue colour. And I'm probably going to have to do a few coats of this to make this covered completely. I also quite like the brown just kind of popping through, but I will, I think, do 2 coats on this just to cover it, make it look like it's a bit more of a solid colour. As you can see, it goes on really easily, pretty easy to keep a hold of, and I will probably just pop this into the top of the pumpkin, sticking out so that it can dry. Next thing I want to show you is a slightly different technique for this, and this is my other pumpkin, and I found these really cool stick-on tattoos. You know, just the ones that kids use. You just put water onto the back of them, and they're quite big, quite large, and I thought they would look really, really cool on a pumpkin. So all I'm going to do for this, I'm going to get my stick-on tattoo. I'm going to peel off, in fact I won't peel the plastic off the front of it just yet. I will get my water spray. Well, maybe I do have to peel the plastic off first, or it'll come up onto the plastic, won't it? There you go, see, thoughts in action. Spray it, get it nice and wet on this side. And I'm literally just going to push it onto the pumpkin and hope that it sticks. I've done this a few times and it worked really, really well. I know that I need to keep on wetting it and make sure that all of the, I guess it's like a kind of plastic, or I don't know what the ink is that they use, make sure all of that comes off. And you can kind of see it coming off from the other side. Just push it on exactly the same way you would do if you were doing this onto skin, and it will just go down onto here. And then what I'll do when this is off and dry is I will actually use the decoupage as a kind of varnish. There we go, look at that. How simple and easy was that? We'll just move that out of the way and just smooth down little edges where it's not quite stuck, just tiny little bits. And I personally, I think that is so beautiful and so simple and easy to do. I'll paint this stalk with the gold as well and give it a little nice brush over once it's dried off. And then let me put these all together, all these gorgeous pumpkins, show you how they look maybe on my table downstairs. Let's go and have a look. I absolutely love the way that these pumpkins have turned out. This one particularly, the ones with the tattoos look fantastic. A quick coat of gloss, they look amazing. These ones with the napkins, the decoupage, it really does look like fine china. That chinoiserie effect is beautiful. And choosing just the blue and the white really does have a great effect. I think you could put these on any table, any tablescape, any kind of decor that you're doing for fall. For something that's a little bit different, has a lot of class, is kind of neutral, but also shows a little bit of personality. I hope you've enjoyed this make. I love making it for you. My name's Fiona DeBell. Join me next time here on Home Talk.